Good afternoon. Welcome to the Earth Removal Committee meeting for February 17th already, 2026. We're in meeting room number 1 at the Town Hall. If everybody can do me a favor and silence their cell phones. As always, the board members will be recognized first, and then when it's audience's turn, we'll call on them, whoever needs to talk or have a question in order. Myself or Roger has got the right to stop any conversation whenever we see fit. And if we can just keep the comments and the outbursts to a dull roar, that'd be great. I appreciate it. Again, Area 58, thank you very much for being here and recording. Is there anybody else recording today? Catherine?
Catherine Harrelson, Community Land and Water Coalition.
Thank you very much. And for anybody that's going to talk that comes up to the table, if you could in fact sign the sign-in sheet for us, that way there it's just easier for Susan to do perfect minutes. So it does make our lives a lot easier. All right. So moving right along, you may notice that we have a new gentleman here to my right. Steve Ward is a brand new Earth Removal Committee member. With a lot of arm bending and twisting, he said yes. And for that, I thank you very much, Steve. There will be ample time for you to get to meet everybody in the audience if you choose to. But thank you again from the bottom of my heart for helping us out.
I could not be happier to become a part of this.
So he says at his first meeting. So, Steve, thank you. I know that there's a bunch of administrative stuff that you need to do with Karen, the town clerk, and there's some other things that Jen's going to talk to us about today as far as compliance with... Did Karen not talk to you about that for us? Yes. So I will. There are a bunch of conflict of interest training, ethics training that we have to complete online annually. So...
Finished.
Thank you. The rest, it's for the rest of us too.
I did it as well.
Did you?
Yeah.
You do it too? Or am I the only one that's tired? I know we have till April. So that's one of the things that I think you've all gotten an email from the town hall about that. So if you haven't, reach out to Jen and we'll get another email sent out so we can have all that digital stuff taken care of. Okay, so again, Steve, thank you and welcome.
My pleasure.
All right, moving right along. Minutes. Susan, I think, does a fantastic job for us, and I think she got writer's cramp from the last meeting, or typer's cramp, however it goes. I'm hoping everybody did get a chance to read them. We've been told, Steve, in the past that you did not... How would that work, Amy? If he obviously wasn't here, should he abstain?
If you have enough people, but if not, it's purely an administrative matter, so.
That was my plan.
Please do.
However, I did watch the meeting on video.
So we do have enough of a quorum, so you can vote your pleasure. I'll accept a motion to approve the minutes or not.
So I'd move that we approve the minutes for, when was this meeting?
The 6th.
The 6th of January as written.
Okay, Roger. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mike? Any discussion, any changes we need to have made, or all good? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor of approving the minutes from January the 6th, 2026 as written, signify by saying aye.
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 And I will abstain.
Any opposed? Okay, and one abstention, so we are 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, yeah?
0-1.
Oh, yeah. 401, see, that's why we keep you around. Thank you. All right, as in this meeting, because of my queer schedule, I asked you all to be patient and we changed the meeting time from the first Tuesday to today. I'm going to be absent on the first Tuesday in March as well. So I've asked Jen to put it in the agenda for potential of March 10th, which is the second Tuesday of the month.
That works for me.
Okay. So Roger's good,
That's fine.
Judy's good, Mike's good. Steve? Mr. Pike, you good? Amy, you good?
Paper calendar.
That's the first time I've ever seen you pull paper.
Yes, I am okay.
Excellent.
We'll
Steve?
scramble back from Ag Day. We'll make it.
So, everybody's good? Jen and Sue, you guys are both good? Excellent. So, there it is. The next meeting date will be March 10th at 3 o'clock, hopefully in this room, and hopefully it does not conflict with the select board. So with that, thank you. Bills payable. O&M has submitted a small receipt this month, smallest we've seen in quite a long time, which is kind of nice for our checkbook. Looks like it's $293.25. In the email that Mr. Woods had written to me, he said that he had enough funds in the things that were already appropriated for this. So this is just merely a formality to just talk about it.
So I move that we approve the operations and maintenance expense authorization form in the amount of $293.25.
Okay, Roger. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Roger, Judy. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you very much. We are unanimous. Mr. Pike, welcome back, my man. So you've done a pretty detailed report for us, so
I do, I'm gonna try to shorten it up a little bit.
I love it. Thank you.
So, I was tasked with bringing our new board member up to speed. Unfortunately, he was bringing, well, not unfortunately, he was better at bringing me up to speed than me bringing him up to speed because he'd already been to all these sites at one point or another, so he's very familiar with it. I was able to show him what I knew about it. We did 3 site visits. The first one was at 104 Tremont Street, E.J. Pontiff site, and Michael Diamond showed us around there. Site was neat and clean. The new 40-foot apron was all clear, free and clear of debris. Phase 1, bog 1 was nearly complete. They had some piles of topsoil remaining to be removed. And phase 2 is ongoing. They've got since the last time I was there, they have an area where they're excavating, and they're excavating both sides. They really don't have a lot of room there for equipment, so they're hitting it from both sides, and it's coming right along. And the 3rd phase has begun, and the limit of cut area is established, and then they have to go from there. But it all looked good. The second site we went to was at 59 Federal Road. Bill Madden, and there were several representatives from Makepeace there. And I'm going to try to do justice to the explanation they gave me of the site, because there was an issue with how the project was phased. And so their intent of the phasing was the cut layout as opposed to the phasing that I understand that the board prefers, which is bog by bog, so that there's berries being completed and getting back into action and producing berries. What I did is I compared this to the 3rd site that we visited, which was 46 Federal Road, and I noticed that each site was about 20 acres. And the big difference between the 2 sites was the phasing. So, as I said, the phasing at 59 Federal Road was the cutout itself. So they were cutting the area to be the final site, and they required the materials to be removed so that they could produce so that they could create the bogs to produce the berries. And so they really needed to finish the cutout before they could start with the bogs. That was the plan that they had contemplated, and that's what they were doing. So the site at 46 Federal Road was phased bog by bog, and it's a more recent permit, and it was done, and I could be wrong about all this, but I think I have this all right, as it was contemplated by the current commission, which is bog by bog, so that they get berries produced sooner. And if you look at the 46 Federal Road site, they already have bogs in place and they're producing berries and harvesting berries. So that's what they're looking for at the 59 Federal Road site. And the folks from AD Makepeace, Mr. Madden and the other representatives, were very receptive and understanding of the phasing issues contemplated by the committee now. I understand they're preparing or have prepared a plan, and may have it tonight, to address those issues, and I understand that that's part of the consideration of the meeting tonight. And we'll hear more on that. And the last thing I did was one announced drive-by visit to both the 46 and 59 Federal Road sites on January 27th. And basically, it's a drive-by visit. And my main concern was looking at the road areas to see that they were free and clear of debris. Now, obviously, there was a mix of the normal seasonal road debris from salt and so forth, but other than that, it looked fine. It looked like it was well kept. That's basically it. I shortened that up a lot. Mainly, my goal was to compare the two sites, the two 20-acre sites, and to look at the 46 Federal Road, which was being phased as contemplated by the current board, as opposed to the 59 Federal Road, which was being phased by cutout, such that the bogs won't be completed until the whole cutout is done. I hope I made sense of all of that. That's it.
Thank you, Rob.
Thank you, Robert.
Very nice detailed report, I do appreciate it. And I know that in speaking with Steve, the two of you have gotten on pretty well, talking about what you each have expertise in. And it's a good thing to be able to go out and have somebody to talk with that's part of the board, instead of just being a lone ranger out there, so I think that worked.
I just wanted to add, Agent Pike, appreciate your time doing that. I thought you were really very professional. I liked all the questions they asked. They were very good questions and right on the mark, so thank you.
Thanks.
Excellent. Does anybody have from the board anything for the agent before we move on? Okay, cool. All right, Judy's favorite conversation piece. You think we need to have a site visit in the snow this month? It'll be raining. whatever day we pick.
The 28th looks good.
So you're looking to go out on the 28th?
Can we discuss that a little bit later?
We can discuss it whenever you like. I look to you because this is something that's near and dear to your heart, so.
It is, a site walk. What do you got this weekend and next? And then we're in March?
Where would you want to go?
Right, that's the question. Where would you want to go?
All of them.
No. How's that?
So some of them aren't being worked as of now.
Right.
And then
Well, I'm thinking we could wait another
get
month.
most of the active ones in November, so when we come for our March meeting,
Yeah.
unless there's an issue that gets brought to the board to go out,
So wait until next month?
that would be my thought,
Yeah, I agree.
till March.
So again, we're gonna meet for real on the 10th.
So we'll pick probably that following Saturday.
So we can talk about that weather dependent after the next meeting. We'll talk about it at the meeting for a site visit following that. Is that what I think I'm hearing?
Yes.
Okay. I was just at one of the bogs today and I couldn't get around because of the snow depth, so.
And the danger factor.
Yeah, well, that's just one of those things that it's, if there's not activity, there's no sense going out. There is some activity in a couple of different places, one of which we're gonna talk about today. And Agent Pike and Steve were just at the 104 site the other day. So, I think we wait till after the next meeting, and then we hit it pretty good. You guys good with that?
Yes.
Okay. All right. We have on the revised agenda an administrative action is to sign and issue the amended order of conditions for the 104 Tremont Street, which none of us behaved and came to the building to sign after our last meeting. I think we've all signed it now. Jen, you have a copy of that? We can get Kara to town clerk to stamp that.
Mike or someone from EJ Quantum.
Yep, if you can reach out to him, I'm sure he'll be very happy to come in and sign that.
Okay.
And then we can get the town clerk to stamp it so we can do everything I's dotted and T's crossed type of thing. All right. Do we have representatives from the AD Makepeace Company? Mike and Mr. Madden, you guys want to step up? So while they're getting situated for the audience here present and the audience at home, we did do a site visit with the AD Makepeace Company. Mr. Madden, Ms. McVeigh, Mr. Gibbs, and Mr. Kane were all there with us. We spent a substantial amount of time chatting about what we were seeing based on our last conversation here in front of everybody. I think it was a very productive conversation. It was one of the only site visits we've ever been on that it wasn't pouring rain. So that was kind of nice. We did get to spend a substantial amount of time talking about the future. So with that, how would you guys like to proceed? Would you like to tell us what we talked about? Or do you want to answer, do some Q&A type of thing?
I would just say thank you to the board for another opportunity to come before you. Like you just said, and like Agent Pike said, I think we had a very frank discussion at the site walk in January. Had an opportunity to walk with Mr. Ward and Mr. Pike, the same two different properties. We hear you. We're here. We brought what we said we'd bring. We have a bog construction plan right here to discuss. Beyond that, I'm available for any question.
So I'll kick it off and then I'll head it to the board for discussion with you guys and certainly for the audience. There was two questions when we started looking at 59 Federal Road. You all have heard us say that this particular board, other than Mr. Harrison, is brand new. Within a couple of years, we did not issue this permit. We did not write the order of conditions. It's just a different time in history now. We're looking at things with a different lens. It's a different board. It's important to know that we're just different than the last board. That's all we are. We're just different. So one of the things we talked about originally was, is Makepeace in compliance with the written order of conditions? It is my belief, and this is up for discussion with the board, that they are in fact in compliance with the way the order of conditions is written. Discussion from the board about that point before we move on to the next piece. Okay. So the next piece of the puzzle for me and the board, I believe, was end use of the project. Now I go in there and I drive down the hill when we're invited to a site walk and I see a very wide open, flat sand pit floor. without much of anything else being done other than earth movement. We've talked about this, we've been very frank and open, and dare I say, Mr. King called me blunt, which I am true to form I am. So the end use is something that's very important to this board. At which time, we spent a tremendous amount of time talking about what we, the board, think is end use to the applicant. And with that, I'm going to pass it back to Mike or you, Phil, to talk about your work plan that you've got in front of us, which shows us end use prior to the end of this permit expiration, if you will. So, the floor is yours, gentlemen.
Okay. Do you folks have copies of the work plan that we prepared?
Yes, sir.
Top sizes and what have you? I have one full size if we want me to, I'll direct it from that. You can hold it.
Perfect.
I'll just put it up. At the last meeting, we did have some pretty lengthy discussions on, you know, the construction activities that would need to take place. Oh, thanks.
I'll help you out, sir.
I thought there was one of those here. Thanks, Steve. About the work activities that were going to take place on the site. So what we did is just looked at this northerly portion first. I mean, that was the area that we initially showed the 4 cranberry bog sections. They were a little short of 5 acres apiece, 4.5 acres, somewhere along those lines. What we did is we developed a construction plan based on working in that footprint of that 20 acres. Hearing what you said about having the bogs constructed and what have you, we developed a plan that would show how we would begin building out the first bog sections. And you might recall we had 1, 2, 3, 4. We had 4 sections. What we've been directed to do, the company now would prefer to have just 2 sections that are a little short of 10 acres each, as opposed to the 4 5-acre sections thereabouts that
more
we
bog.
had shown in the plan. Smaller.
By about a half acre, about.
Yeah. But the footprint of the activity all remains the same. It falls in the same footprint. And, you know, we present the plan, this plan that was submitted last week shows those 2 sections as opposed to the 4 acres.
4 sections.
I'm sorry?
4 sections.
4 sections, rather. Yep, thanks, Mike. So part of our thoughts behind this is that we would be able to build, you know, 10 acres of bog as opposed to build 5 and then build 5 by conducting the work in this manner. So what we did is, first thing we did is we looked at where the toe of the existing slope was on the site. And as we're from the east and the north, we showed this heavy dark line there. That's basically the toe of the slope. That's the face of where the slope intersects with the floor of the pit. So that's what that line represents. It doesn't represent the top of the slope or anything beyond the top of the slope. It is the intersection of the elevation that's around elevation 88 or 90 and where the excavation has currently taken place. So everything that falls within this, let's call it the first pink shaded area, that's all pretty much excavated down to a particular elevation. It's not down to the design elevation by any stretch, but it is down to the elevation that we had indicated on the plan. I think we talked about elevation 90 on the original permit plan.
That's what you're at now, is 90?
We're a little high, we're a little lower than 90. It's variable. We got 88. The red numbers on that plan show what the elevations are in there. So it ranges anywhere from 88 to 92. But that material does have to be excavated out to build the cross-section of the bog. And that's what this construction plan is intended to do, shows how we're going to excavate out the sections to build the bog within the footprint that's already excavated. Understanding that you didn't have much of an appetite, at least you said at the meeting, that You wish that we did not go into any of the slopes. So any of the areas that are bounded by this black line, the upper areas, you did not want us to do that until we present a plan to you indicating how we're going to construct the cranberry bog sections. With that comment, there was only one small area here. You can see the plan that shows lighter lines that are tight together. That's a bunch of, a lot of subsoil that was stripped off the site that was pushed up against the excavated slope. And in order for us to complete that entire section number 1 of cranberry bog, we do have to get back to the finished grade lines that we showed on the plan. So there's a need to alter a little of the land that's there to cut it and strip it and slope it. And that falls in an area that you asked us not to work in, but it does. It's the only way we can, it's the way that we're suggesting we do it so that we can complete the cranberry bog cross section. So that's really one of the first things that we had to ask if there was any problem with going into that area to create the slope so that we can construct our dike road and then begin our cranberry bog section construction to the west.
So that's not counter to the original plan, that's just, that's part of the original plan, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
So the dashed line that's all the way to the east where the pink shading is, that is original to the original set of plans that was approved back in 2020.
Actually, it was more extensive in 2020. It actually extended out, I don't know how many feet beyond, but it did extend out due to the fact that we were proposing at one point in time a construction access off a federal road.
Yep.
So we had to cut the slope down, change the grade so it was accessible. We abandoned that provision with the plan and just showed the existing entranceway that's being used currently as the site access.
So before the audience asks or wonders, we're cutting less trees than
Yes.
the original plan was.
Yes.
Okay. You guys all see this from the board? Okay.
I can show it on the other plans
you're good.
if need be. Okay. So anyway, that's what we're looking to do there. And so what we ended up developing is a table down here at the bottom that talked about how we're gonna construct this section number 1.
Okay.
So the idea is to start from the east and progress to the west, where this has been cut down to a certain degree. Now it just involves removing the remainder of the material that's there and then constructing the cross section from the subgrade up to the finished grade of the proposed bog. So what we've shown is our 50-foot access road at the east end and the west end of the site. We showed our 50-foot access road along the south end, and there's a 20-foot access road to the north. That access road is now going to be a standard height dike road. It's not going to be the low flow dike road that we had originally. So that'll be used to confine the box that creates section number 1, and that entire section number 1 becomes 9.54 acres in size in its entirety.
Okay.
So
I did notice that that is now a normalized dike, which I was happy to see, based on the fact that once this is completed and you do give us an as-built plan, if we were to continue this project as such, at least you'll be able to grow a cranberry crop. Have a dike road, have it sloped, have it seeded, and it would be substantially completed with that raised dike instead of a low dike. So that I did see, and for that I think it's a good idea.
yeah, that is
Explain the
true.
table to me on the bottom. You've got a earth removal area 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Okay, those areas coincide with the colors on the plan, and I know there's a lot of 1s, 2s, and 3s, and A's, B's, and C's, but the color, the pink, the blue, and the green, you can see those little color codes.
I
That's the
got
far
that down,
left
part
right
1,
there.
2, and 3.
Okay, so part 1 is this pink section of
Yeah.
Cranberry Bog Section 1. So that's the first work that's going to be undertaken on the site.
I get that, the areas I'm confused with, area 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Okay, area 1, 2, 3, and 4, those refer to the portion of the original permitting.
Okay.
So you remember
I gotcha.
we had area A, we had area 1 that's down here, we had area 2 that's over here, area 3,
Good.
and area 4 in this corner.
Okay, so we're not touching area 5, good.
And the reason we did that is we wanted to demonstrate to you how many square feet or how many acres in each one of those phases this project, well, the revision to the project would entail. So I think we're approved through 1, 2, and 3.
You are? Yep.
Yes.
So part 3 in this is the water, gonna be the water for this bog?
Part 3 in this, if we follow that
Yeah,
line,
he's
that's-
talking about area 3 from the original set of plans, not the color-coded work plan.
No, I was talking about part 3 in this one.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah.
part 3 is just the portion here of the slope in the water supply. That's part 3 of section 1. So section 1 will be completed in shape and form for that full 9.54 acres by the time we need to get into part 3. So part 1 will be done first, part 2 will be done the second, and part 3 will be the third piece, heading in a westerly direction.
Okay. It looks to me from this set of plans, we're going to clip a corner of area 4 by the time we're completing part 2. Area 3 intersects with area 4 at the, what would look to me like either a hill or a hole. I can't see the contour lines very well. But right now, we are not, nobody's been approved to be into 4, right?
Correct.
So this is something I just wanted to bring to the board's attention, that area A on the original plan, area 1, area 2, and area 3 were all approved by the Earth Removal Committee in various forms. Area 4 has not been. So just so we're all on the same page, that you guys understand what we're looking at. Okay.
And as part of that table, we put the volume that needs to be removed from each one of those sections. So, for each one of the parts. So part 1 involves, like, I think it's 69,000 yards.
Yep.
Part 2 involves 290,000.
Yep.
Just those 2 areas alone exceed what can be removed in a 1-year time frame of a permit. We know we have about 18 months remaining thereabouts. But I just put that there just to illustrate the fact that it's a full year of earth removal before we even get to look at that corner of part 3 that falls into section 4.
It looks like, just by my math, when I was doing homework last week, part 1, part 2, and part 3 equal 458,700 cubic yards, give or take. And the company believes that in the time frame, we can get that removed if we were to go forward. That 458,000 out of that area, part 1, part 2, part 3.
It would be right, yes, it would be. Well, that's a 2-year time frame,
Right.
based on 250.
The way I looked at it was 17 months, give or take, till the expiration of that 2-year grace on the third permit extension, however it's
Yes.
verbalized. But 459,000, something the company thinks they can get out in that 17-month time frame.
That's what the goal would be,
Okay,
yep.
good. All right. Questions from the board?
Just a quick couple of points that it would be far more efficient for AD Makepeace to build these bogs at the end of the project. But we want to make sure that we have public trust and make sure that these cranberry bogs are built as we go, even though it might be a little bit more work to get it finally planted.
So what we've been doing to this point with our new permits that we've issued is having them come in with a tighter phased scenario. And the phasing then is what we'll call loosely as substantially completed before we allow cutting, stripping, removal on the next phase. So because the order of conditions was not written that way, this is, I think, the best way we can kind of morph a original order of conditions into something that looks something similar to what everybody else is doing today. And that's, I think, Mr. Madden and the company have done a very good job of recognizing and understanding how important it is, to your point, to have the public trust in what we do and not assume that there is a next phase of this project coming. So the only way we can do that is to finish a section at a time. And with that, I think this is a good plan on how to get us there. Judy, do you have anything for the applicant?
Just for clarification, on part one, the time to have this project completed is kind of tight. So when are we going to see the completion of part one?
I would have to check with them on that. I know they're currently working on that right now. So when we talk about the completion of part one, this is the excavation of the earth that's been permitted under the permit. Once we get down to a subgrade elevation, we have to build the cross-section of the cranberry bog up. So everything that I've been explaining is the excavation to get down to the subgrade level. And once you're down to subgrade, then they can start bringing up that portion.
Can I?
So part two also, you have to bring it to grade to then build up also?
Yes.
Is that all going to be taking place kind of like at the same time?
I think we'll get to that in a bit.
I just want to add, if I could.
Yep, absolutely.
Since you visited the site, we've shifted now we had some terrible weather, but we've shifted our resources over there, and we've got our cranberry construction manager on site every single day now. So that's what Mr. Ward saw. I don't think you saw that, but.
No, because they recently went.
Yep, so we're working at it every single day.
Okay. So to follow on, just for clarity, part one looks like it's, call it 70,000 yards, give or take.
Right.
Any idea on how long to get it down to a subgrade? And I know it's a arithmetic problem, Mike, that's why.
Yeah, no,
It's, you know, it's,
I think we had
Like
a
70
time
days.
frame last time we came in front of you.
Yep.
And it's tight, and that was before this weather. I don't recall what exactly we said.
It's about 70 days to do that,
Okay.
about 1,000 yards a
1,000
day.
yards a day, give or take.
Thereabouts.
okay.
So,
The reason, Judy, I wanted to kind of table that part is, I think at this point here, before we do anything else, one thing I would like to ask of the applicant is to have them give us a progress report via engineering plans, something similar to this, in a quarterly fashion. And to make it kind of mirror what we do with the other large permits that we have. So because the site is so vast, it's very difficult to get out there and look at a stake or six without a plan in your hand saying this is exactly where we're standing. So one of the things I'm gonna recommend is that we have quarterly engineered plans, something like this, to show limit of work, where you've been, how much we've done, and where we're completed. And secondly to that, I would suggest that part one is substantially complete before we start diving into a slope. So it's very easy to dive a loader into a very tall bank, and it's work, and I know it is. Everybody else has to do it. I'd just soon have the work being done at the time that the bog is being created before we get into the low-hanging fruit of the big tall bank. So that would be my recommendation, quarterly reports. And substantial completion on part 1 before we started diving into part 2.
I think Mr. Madden made a point to the easterly slope.
Yep.
That a lot of his material that he was going to be using for the subgrade was part of that slope. So
Yep.
I mean, we may need to cut a little slack there.
Well, again, part 1, if you're removing the subgrade, part 1 down to the floor, sub-subgrade, and then you have a confining layer material that's off to the east, that just flip-flops right on the property. So that's what I'm considering, and we've all done this a little bit before, so your construction manager, I know, and he's great at his job. So he'd be thinking virtually the same way I am, I would think. So with that, we have a work plan. We are seeing end use. I think one of the recommendations, when we get to talking about it after the audience has had time to chime in here, one of the things I would like to see is quarterly engineered reports. And then what we have not spoken about yet is the area to the south and west of the solar field, where the 2 large stone piles are. In the essence of substantially complete, I want to see that loamed and seeded.
What's it?
The reason, it's about 15 acres. I've kind of done a Google Earth sketch of it. Unfortunately, that's all I have. It's about 15 acres that, if in fact there is not the second phase of a permit coming, and I'm not saying there is or there isn't, but it would be a dust bowl for the neighbors. And I don't want that to be the case.
You're talking about where they have area reserved for future building?
Exactly.
This-
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, I was gonna mention that, and the sloping to be completed as well by the end of this permit phase.
It's dirt work. I don't think there's removal there. It looks to me by the contour lines that it's close. And I'm not saying, I don't know what the plan is there for a final grading on that site, but loamed and seeded, stopping the dust from blowing, will go a long way.
Okay.
And that's just my opinion, that's not the board, of course, that's just one person's opinion. But what happens then is that is done, so everything to the south of that bog is then vegetated and growing up to the face then, just like we're doing everything else for the most part. What do we think, Amy?
Sure.
Okay, I want to make sure I'm not overstepping. This is not something that's in the order of conditions as written, so that's why I'm asking if, again, I consider that substantially complete at that point. So those are my asks. I don't know if the board has any other asks of the applicant before we go on to the audience. Mr. Madden.
I just want, when we talk about building this out, what we kind of envisioned was, is creating those bogs in shape and form first, excavating down to our subgrade, and then come in with our construction activities and build the entire 10 acres up at one time, not do part 1 from confining layer to organic layer to sand layer, until we have the entire site down to subgrade, so that we can do that, so that we don't intermingle different activities.
Well, I think that area, personal opinion, and again, I'll talk to the board, I'll let the board weigh in here as well. I've done enough talking already. But I think there's enough footprint there that you can put that confining layer down. You can put an organic layer down that comes X feet away from the end of that. And then you can put the sand layer down. So we are seeing what I call Betty Crocker making the cake. Not just a flat floor. If I see a flat floor again, that's what I'm looking at now. If it's a sand pit floor, that's all we're looking at. So for me personally, I want to see the cross-section of that bog marching down as we're digging.
in my reference is that, you know, we would show everything right down to the bottom, to the dike road,
Yep.
right down to the bottom. And then these other layers of the cake would
Yep.
be the,
Yeah, like I say, once it gets down to subgrade at that point, you put your 6-inch confining layer down for as far as you can. You put your 12-inch organic layer down as far as you can, with still being able to work the remainder and not commingle the soils. Because you've got several hundred feet there. That bog is 1,320 feet long, give or take. If you leave 100 feet between layers, you're still showing substantial completion.
You want
So
to
then
do
the
that
prep-
Before they move to phase 2.
That would be my recommendation.
Okay.
I see your point, Mr. Chairman.
That would be my recommendation, and what it does, for all intents and purposes, first of all, it's gonna cut down on any dust. I don't want these poor neighbors in any more dust. You guys have been great with the water. It's still not right. So let's get as much covered up as we can. You're gonna have dust if you put sand down, 6-inch layer of sand. We know that. But at least it's a cranberry sand. It's not a sand pit floor.
We wanted to loan and see this earlier as well.
So in my mind, to be quite frank, I'm much more interested in getting the bog built, but by the time the as-bilt's done, I want to see grass. That would be my recommendation. I don't see a particular rush, because they're there working. They'll have a water truck on site, or at least irrigation of some sort, so that we can hold the dust down.
I agree. I think that sounds fair.
All right, does anybody have anything else for the board? We're gonna call you guys back in a little bit. Does anybody else have anything for Mr. Madden or Mr. McVeigh right now? Okay, I'm gonna ask you guys to step back. The Community for Land and Water Coalition has asked for time today to speak. I've granted that as just as a matter of course here. I've given them 15 minutes to stay on topic for 59 Federal Road, please. And with that, the floor is yours. It just kind of shows it a little bit there, right?
Ladies, did we get a copy?
What do you want to call it? Oh, hi. Well, is this speaking to me? Okay, right.
Hey, look at that, we're even plugged in. Nice.
Where's my ladder?
Well, the town pays enough for this stuff, we may as well use it, right?
Do you want me to hand the exhibits to the ERC? I don't know if I'm going to use the exhibit. This was such a bullshit. It's a waste of time.
So thank you, Mr. Chair. My name is Meg Sheehan. I will try to be brief. I'm going to speak for a few minutes, and there are other members of the community that are here. I did want to go through some points, but just given what I've just seen here and your obvious intent to amend the earth removal permit without a public hearing, which you also did on 104 Tremont Street, which was completely illegal, I'm going to just address some of the points that happened to be raised here. So we did send you a letter on February 13th outlining why you should issue a cease and desist immediately and order restoration of the site at 59 Federal Road. And I would like to put it into the context of what has gone on here since 2023. We have outlined in our letter to you and provided copies of the 10 permits that the Carver Earth Removal Committee has given to AD Makepeace for this area since 2003. Hundreds of acres of sand and gravel have been removed, hundreds of acres of land has been destroyed, and open pit mines created. Mr. Pike was completely erroneous when he said that cranberries are being harvested at 46 Federal Road. As Mr. Ward's father knows, as he said in 2024, when you granted the third permit for 3646 Federal Road, which is now a 60-acre open pit sand mine. No cranberries have been harvested from that location yet. There was no harvesting there this year in 2026 after almost 20 years of sand and gravel mining. So AD Makepeace claims that it is necessary and incidental to their cranberry bog construction to conduct this decades-long sand and gravel operation to supply Reed custom soils. It does not meet the bylaw by any shape, by any legal interpretation, including by the highest courts in Massachusetts, and I'll quickly go through this. The Carver earth removal bylaw requires an earth removal permit, and it has to be for a use that is allowed in the zoning district. So here it has to be an agricultural or residential end use. And the court does not allow an endless sand and gravel mining operation to be done under the pretense of creating a legal end use someday. What is in fact required is that the applicant here, AD Makepeace, has to show that the earth removal is necessary for the end use. There's been no showing that Makepeace needs to do this earth removal in order to stay in the cranberry business. In fact, the facts show, and we have documented, that the number of cranberry bogs that AD Makepeace has on its lands has not changed in 20 years. 1,700 acres 20 years ago, 1,700 acres today. Makepeace is not in the cranberry business primarily to make money off of cranberries. It's in the cranberry business as a cover-up for earth removal. Secondly, it has to be incidental to the agricultural or residential use. The earth removal here does not meet that test. The courts, as you know, say that incidental land use for earth removal for an agricultural project has to be minor and subordinate to. As you know, the leading case from Plymouth, where the court said that a 2-year earth removal operation to create a cranberry bog was not incidental. What would the court say about a 20-year earth removal operation to create cranberry bogs? Hundreds of acres of bogs, hundreds of acres of land has been obliterated. These are open pit mines with silica sand dust blowing into the neighborhoods. And there are, maybe 10 or 12 acres of cranberry bogs created around Federal Road. This 2020 permit is a complete ruse. It should not be allowed to continue under any circumstances. And this is just really quite shocking that you would sit here and listen to this and say, we're going to go on with this. The permit application that was submitted in 2020, signed by Mr. Jim Kane, who you had a private discussion with, apparently, on your site visit, which would certainly appear to violate the open meeting law, said under oath that that project at 59 Federal Road would be done in 3 years. That was 3 years ago. Now you're talking about letting that continue for how long? We really never heard how many acres from them have been destroyed or how many cubic yards of sand and gravel have actually been removed from the site. Do you know? We haven't heard that. In addition, as these maps show that I was going to hand out, but I'll hand them to you later, the earth removal for the solar project to the south of this site was done with no permit starting in about 2019 and has expanded to the west and north. You can see the green area there. I believe that's the 15 acres that you're talking about wanting to have loamed and seeded. That was done with no permit. That right there is a reason for a cease and desist. I'm going to turn the floor over to the people who are being impacted by your negligence and your knowing, intentional participation in this ruse. Next speaker will be Olin College of Engineering, who will talk to you about the dangers of silica dust. Residents have been in here year after year telling you about their exposure to silica dust in this environmental justice neighborhood. And I would like to point out that if you don't think we have evidence of this ruse, here are all the plans right here from 2008 until the present, the 10 permits that you have issued for a couple of acres of cranberry bogs.
Cool. Hi everyone, my name is Anna. I'm an engineering student at Olin College of Engineering. I'm here with some members of my team, and we've been partnered with the Community Land and Water Coalition to research and document health impacts felt by communities affected by sand mines in southeastern Massachusetts. We have collected and analyzed several sand samples of the sand that settles on abutting resident properties and analyzed them in our materials science lab on the scanning electron microscope. This spring, we found evidence of particles of crystalline silica of potentially respirable size. Our team presented those results at the Massachusetts State House in June in support of Bills 918 and 948, protecting public health, and we continue to analyze that sand to understand the health impacts of silica. We're also partnered with Air Partners, who have installed air monitors directly adjacent to the mine at 59 Federal Road. Those air monitors provide live data about the air quality that everyone can access on the website. You can see days when the air quality hits 7 times above the WHO recommended limit for PM10, which is dust. Combining this data with wind direction data has started to show that some of these elevated concentrations are definitely coming from the direction of the mine. Yeah. If you want to learn more about air monitoring, sand sampling, come talk to us. We have handouts.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for the time you've given us. My name is Linda Jacobs. I can't help but notice, Chair Hanula, that you were much more attentive to the Makepeace people than you have been so far to the community. Thank you all for considering to issue a cease and desist for 59 Federal Road. I attended your last meeting and was impressed with the insightful questions you asked Attorney Quessel about how to ensure that Makepeace is abiding by its permit. I'm very disappointed today after listening to your interaction with Makepeace and what sounds like approval moving forward. I live in Cranberry Village, which abuts the 59 Federal site, and I've been attending these meetings for over 2 years, missing only a few of them. I've repeatedly expressed my alarm that activity at this site is contaminating our sole source aquifer by removing sand and trees and digging into the aquifer itself to create 2 ponds there. I've repeatedly described how the peace of my home is regularly disturbed by the constant hum of the heavy equipment. My concern that the air I breathe may be contaminated with silica sand dust. I've stood at the edge of the pit behind a friend's home that abuts the site, and I've looked down a good 30 feet to where Makepeace is supposedly creating bogs. I know all of you have also been to the site, and I find it incredulous that you report this activity as legitimate agriculture. What other cranberry bog has been created by digging a sand pit 30 feet deep? I've walked many bogs in this area over the years, and I've never had to climb into a pit to do it. It's been very frustrating to attend these meetings and hear all of you talk about the site as if it's a real agricultural operation. And I ask you now to do the right thing and issue a cease and desist for 59 Federal Road and assess what Makepeace is actually doing there. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Thank you for hearing us. My name is Larry Lewis, and I live at 10 Jefferson Way. And I'm going to show you on this map exactly where I live. I live right there, right here. And since I've lived there, I hike through the woods a lot. I hike through the woods, and I end up I'm not sure that this is a totally recent photograph or not.
Last year, 2025.
Pardon?
It's last year, April 2025.
This is last year,
Yeah.
okay. This area right in here, from here all the way over to here, is a recent clear cut that Makepeace did. They did it of May, I guess it was 2 years ago. in February of that year, hiking through the woods, I saw a lot of ribbons attached to trees in a straight line right across here. It said clearing to the clearing limit. And then in May, I heard all this machinery. I went out to the site. I took photographs of logs this big around, piles of them that Makepeace had cut down. And now this, as you can see, has been scraped clean of topsoil. And the topsoil is piled in a pile somewhere. And there's a huge pile of gravel somewhere. There are huge piles of sand there. And if you see the site from up above, from this plateau right here, and looking down on it, you can see it's like not mountains, but like very large hills. And the activity here is going on right now is, I don't think this is a recent photograph, because right now they have cut up to about in here. And this area here has been cut away. And when I come out of the woods somewhere in here and walk over to here, I can look down and I can see heavy equipment and the trucks rolling out one after the other, taking sand out. Now, one of the things that really bothers me, as well as all the destruction that's taking place here, is that recently I saw further tags on trees, these orange tags that say clearing limit. And I think that they are somewhere in here. And this line is not, I don't think this is the Makepeace boundary. I think it's a little further up. Because there's actually an area in here that is quite a large area that Makepeace intends to clear cut. And if they go ahead with that clear cutting, the initial destruction of the forest and the noise and that will last for weeks and weeks. And then anytime the wind is blowing either out of the east or out of the south or out of the southwest. No, this is the southwest over here. It's going to blow that silica dust into this neighborhood up here. This is Cranberry Village, all these houses here, going down to around here. And there's been a recent occurrence where the wind did blow this way, and all in this area here, that's that circle right there, that was completely covered in silica dust. And I don't know if you've seen silica dust before, but it's a kind of yellowish color, and it covers everything. And some people find it hard to remove from their cars and their windows. And breathing in silica dust, as you know, that's a carcinogen, and it gets in the lungs, it stays in the lungs, it doesn't leave the lungs, it makes breathing hard. This entire community here is a 55 and older community, and some of the people there are in their 80s and 90s. And so if this additional clear cutting takes place, all these folks in here are going to be affected by it. Makepeace still has a huge amount of sand. The quantity of sand that they're taking out of there is just unbelievable. And one other thing I want to say is this. Oh, okay, and I wrote down a couple things here. Investigative reporters from the Boston Globe, the Plymouth Independent, the Wall Street Journal, WGBH Boston, Wareham Week, they've all they've located me somehow and interviewed me and took photographs, and several of them had drones. You may have seen the drone footage of this whole area. And so there have been many articles exposing these sand mine operations. They've appeared in print, online, and on TV. And in the discussion here before, there's talk about end use. And I think it's important to know what the true end use of this is. And they claim it's cranberries. Who knows? And the last thing I want to say is this. In court testimony from its CEO, A.D. Makepeace Company said they could not survive without the profits generated from its sand and gravel mining operations. That's a quote from the CEO of AD Makepeace. And that's telling you that cranberries, now the market for cranberries is flat. And part of that statement also said that if they're lucky, they break even with the cranberries. So I urge this board to issue a cease and desist order on this activity. And thank you for listening to me.
Catherine, we've exceeded our time here by a bit. I'm gonna let you, yep.
Thank you.
I just want to let you know that we're on the clock.
I'll try to be quick.
Okay.
My name's Amy McCain. I live in Cranberry Village. I can see through the trees now where I never used to. When I moved in, there was no sand mine. Or if it was way down, I never saw it. But now I can see through the trees, and I have dust. I've got a picture here of my living room windows with this sludgy dust on it that does not wash off in the rain. I'd like to pass this out to you when I'm done. Silica in the lungs can cause cancer and an incurable, always fatal lung disease called silicosis. Sand is made up of tiny grains of shells and quartz, which quartz is silica, or silica is quartz. There are at least 2 cases of recently diagnosed cases of silicosis right here in Carver. My friend and neighbor also lives very close to the mine and is constantly exposed to the dust. She's been dealing with severe lung issues that her doctor believes is due to the silica exposure. I myself am having serious lung issues with multiple opaque areas in each lung that are requiring CT scans every 6 months. We are an environmental justice neighborhood, so they shouldn't be digging there anyway, and we're a very vulnerable senior population. Most of us bought these houses before the sand mining started. These were supposed to be our last homes. Since we are lower income and elderly, most of us can't afford to move, and how can we ethically sell our houses now with a working, unsafe, potentially deadly sand mine right next door? So I am asking you to place a cease and desist order on the sand mining at 59 Federal Road until and unless the risks to our environment and the people in the neighboring communities is tested and addressed. They've never done silicone testing on this sand because supposedly they know sand and there's no silica in it. Silica in every sand, all sand. All sand has silica. We just don't know the level to what we're breathing in. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. We got one more, Catherine.
Yep, one more speaker.
Yep. And just, I've just got to say this because I'll forget later. Catherine, can you just make sure everybody that spoke signs in after the fact, just so Susan can write it down? Thank you. I apologize. Go ahead.
Sorry, thank you. Thank you for hearing us today. Thank you for using your authority to oversee permits issued to AD Makepeace and their use of land off Federal Road in Carver. Their past actions have not engendered trust in their agricultural claims. Back in September of 2024, I received an abutters notice from the ECR regarding a permit application filed by AD Makepeace in which they asked to dig an aquifer penetrating 20-acre surface reservoir at Zero Golden Pond to be used as an auxiliary supply for their cranberries. Yet, without the knowledge of Carver's Conservation Commission, they filled in a pond located at Zero Golden Pond. These actions give the appearance of deception. I think AD Makepeace needs to stop what they're doing until you, the ERC, can truly determine what they're doing. I respectfully ask that you consider a cease and desist at 59 Federal Road. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just wanted to add one thing because excuse me?
Your name, please.
Oh, Pine du Bois. I'm from Kingston. But Kingston was a part of the effort, the petition in 1990 to designate the Plymouth Carver sole source aquifer. And in the early 2000s, I was part of a working group that developed a draft Plymouth Carver Community Action Plan, and it involved all of the communities in the Plymouth Carver aquifer, in which there are 7. Part of the action plan required that all of the communities would govern their sand and gravel removals in a way that evaluated what its impact on the Plymouth Carver sole source aquifer was, because all of these communities use the water to support every person in it, all the wildlife in it, all the cranberries in it. And I don't see that happening here with your questions and your evaluation. It seems to me that with the extent of earth removal here in Carver, same with the other communities, that there needs to be an analysis and an evaluation of how you are changing the water quality in this area. It was the greatest. I don't think it is anymore. We do have threats from dumps, from PFAS, from insecticides and all that kind of stuff. And when the result of using the excuse that you're having cranberry bogs and they're dumping all the cranberry bogs at the end of the picking season, all the cranberries at the end of the picking season, it causes me a lot of concern. I think that this community and this board needs to engage in protecting the water resources as much as protecting the cranberry growers that need sand mining in order to make some more money. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all for your comments. I appreciate the respectful nature of everything you guys have said for the most part. Most of you have gotten to know me a little bit. I talk a lot. I like to listen as well. I like it in a respectful manner, and today you guys have done that, so for that I do thank you. It's a market change, so I appreciate it. Let's bring Mr. Badman and Mr. McVeigh back up, and then we can close the chapter on this one way or the other, however the board wants to go. Is there anything you guys would like to say to the audience that's here that spoke? Or not, that's okay, I just wanted to give you the opportunity.
Just 2 brief things. The silica piece comes up a lot, very serious accusation, that's no joke. And as some of the board members may know, our operators are tested with an air quality test by MSHA, like right next to their body, right next to their head. And the men and women who are the closest to the silica, dust, sand, and it's never come up above any alarming rate. So I just want the number 1. And number 2, Cranberry Village. We have regular meetings with the Cranberry Village board, the entire board, and I mean regular meetings. And I'd like to believe that, we have good relationships with them. And the one time that what I'll call a non-interested party was before this board, the chair may recall, we were there, me and another individual were there the very next day to address it. And, we try to stay on top of it. And I just appreciate, the input from these folks. So, thank you.
Good. We're gonna get to business because they've got a bunch of other things to take care of. You guys did have your time today, so I do apologize for not calling on you, okay? So, what's the board's pleasure? They have an active permit right now. I believe that they are in compliance with the order of conditions. The permit is not expired. We've got no enforcement action against them. What I think we're looking for is end use, which my personal opinion is this is a good start. I can't be the only one that has an opinion, guys.
I have opinions on it all, and it does break my heart that the project isn't cleaned up and done by now. Trying to be fair to everybody, we've looked at the information that's been supplied to us. AD Makepeace has been very forefront with us and giving us the information we need. And based on our last visit, yeah, we were all a little dismayed about what we saw there. And the end use of this project, we were told, without a promise, that it is going to be cranberry bogs. The only way I can honestly feel comfortable going forward with this is, as Scott had asked, and it was one of my questions, that we need quarterly plans. We do need to see a cranberry bog sooner than later. Your permit expires in 27?
August.
So we have short time to get this done. So we need to see something. Myself personally, it's February now. By June, I would like to come out there and see what's going on and seeing if we have some type of cranberry bog to see and to say, yes, our end use is a cranberry bog. I think that's plenty of time to make a decision whether we do some type of harsher enforcement. I understand things take time, but in view of everything that we've seen and heard, we definitely have to draw a line in the sand here and do something.
Okay.
Thank you, Judy. Mike or Roger, anything? Steve, new guy?
I would, Scott, I'd like to proceed with the recommendations that you put forth. Being part of the Cranberry community, it is so important for me to maintain the integrity of the industry. So we want to do this right. So AD Makepeace, please step up.
Okay. All right, Amy, do we need, go ahead, I'm sorry.
If I could ask a couple questions, Mr.
Absolutely.
Chairman. So on the Community Land and Water Coalition submittal, it states that September 6th of 2024, there was a second earth removal permit for 59 Federal Road for pond to water bogs, and the volume was 1,776,200 cubic yards. I don't see an application, I didn't see a decision.
No, it was an application. It just
So there was no
shows the
decision?
extension.
Right.
that they're gonna keep
It was-
going.
That's what I'm just trying to confirm.
Yeah, they withdrew that
Got it. Okay.
application at that time.
Thank you. That was my
But
question.
that tells you what they're gonna be doing next in 2027. They'll come in with that for another 40 acres of,
We're not gonna go
you know,
there.
a pond to water bogs that don't exist.
I'm not going to talk about what may or may not happen in the future, so I can't, my crystal ball is pretty fuzzy,
And then the
unfortunately.
only other thing, Mr. Chairman, is that the agenda number 9 and number 10 state project update, AD Makepeace 59 Federal Road,
Yep.
Community Land and Water Coalition Ray 59 Federal Road. The submittal that was dated on February 13th from Community Land and Water, it addresses 59 Federal Road and 0 Golden Pond Road, which I think might be 46 Federal Road.
No.
No.
Yeah, I think it's just south of the,
0 Golden Pond, but is that part of 59?
it is not.
Adjacent to it.
So
Yeah, it's
that-
substantially south.
we can't really discuss that.
Correct.
So I didn't hear any discussion going into that, so I didn't stop it, but I just wanted to make it clear that the agenda only lists 59.
Thank you. Question for you now is, they have an active permit. We have open session here, we've got open meeting. Do we need to have a motion for them to follow the work plan, or is that?
You are asking
Inappropriate.
for quarterly engineering reports.
Yep.
You should make a motion for that. That's not
Okay.
listed in the, that's not listed in the permit.
Okay.
I think we should couple that with quarterly visits as well at the same
I
time.
would absolutely agree with that.
You might also, to address Judy's concern, you might want to consider putting this on the agenda for July, because then because you want to see a cranberry bog
Yep.
being constructed by June, you said, right?
And which would bring us to our quarterly
Yeah.
engineered design that we're asking for.
Yep, so you might want to have this on the agenda for July and make sure that then there can be a discussion whether there's a bog there or not.
And then whether we do further action.
Correct.
I would just say progress toward a bog.
Right.
Would-
So,
It was her comment. Whatever her comment was, but, yeah.
so do I hear a motion to have them provide quarterly engineered plans for us?
So moved.
Roger? Do I hear a second? Steve? Any further discussion on the quarterly progress reports, engineered plans? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? 5-0, Susan. All right, with that, this was not, we can just move on, Amy? Okay. Gentlemen, thank you for coming in today.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Appreciate your effort with this going forward.
Just a question, did you approve the amendment to the plan? Are they going to do that bond instead of the one that you approved in 2020?
There is no amendment to the plan.
But what he showed today, that's not a different plan?
There's not. All right, with that, Mr. Vice Chair, I have to recuse myself from your next 2 or 3 bits of water here.
Do you want to go first?
I'll hurry it out of here, so I'll get all my stuff with me, so it'll be.
Thanks, Doc.
All right, thank you all, everybody, do appreciate it.
We're going to move on to agenda item 11. Craig's got some things he needs to do, so
But they're not going to do anything
can I have the audience quiet down, please? Please. Thank you. So it's the continued public hearing for Aggie Realty LLC located at 0 Mayflower Road, map 122, lots 2, 4, 10, and 18. It's your show.
All right. Good afternoon, Chair and Board. Again, I am Craig Medeiros. I am the attorney for ADGA Realty. As a follow-up to our previous meetings, we have submitted an amended set of plans, which makes a number of revisions to the submittal. The scope of the project has been significantly reduced.
Pardon me, Mr. Chair.
I think we're doing the
You
first
said
one.
Mayflower.
Yeah, he made
No,
it. Switched
it is Mayflower. I also said beforehand I wanted to move up
sorry.
to agenda item number
Okay.
10.
Sorry, I didn't hear that.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Thank you.
So, correct, this is Mayflower Road. And again, with these revised plans, the scope of the project has been further reduced. The proposed agricultural reservoir is now 6.58 acres. The original plan was upwards of 10 acres, with a total estimated earth removal of 430,000 yards of material. There would be 200,000 yards of material removed in Phase 1, 130,000 yards removed in Phase 2, and 100,000 yards removed in Phase 3. One thing which is different from the previous submittals is all of the proposed work and disturbance is located outside of the DEP and local wetlands buffer zones, as well as outside the National Heritage mapped areas.
You've also moved further north and east with the project, right?
Correct. So it is kind of a longer, skinnier reservoir instead of a wider reservoir to stay away from the buffer zones on either side in terms of wetlands. In Phase 1, the average daily truck trips would be approximately 31 trucks. In Phase 2, the average daily truck trips would be approximately 20. And in Phase 3, there would be approximately 16 daily average truck trips. Part of the reason why we have less truck trips than some other projects is our project will be wet mined, which is a slower process. Furthermore, we have provided the board with the opinion of a hydrogeologist. This hydrogeologist looked at a high-level impact of the potential of the project on affecting the neighboring wells is a general matter. He indicated that since the project will be wet mined, it will limit disturbance to the water table and have limited effect on neighboring wells. Secondarily, once the reservoir is completed, the drawdown on the water level will be limited and will not go below neighboring well levels. And so again, therefore, it was his opinion that it will have limited effect on neighboring wells. If the board does have any questions or concerns, I'd be happy to address them. Thank you.
Okay. I think just in the, we got to get to this issue before any others, because I think it determines whether we move forward or not. Mayflower Road is a two-lane road, no breakdown, telephone poles in the street, plenty of houses, windy road. Highly concerned with the safety of the neighborhood. That's my opinion. I haven't heard from the rest of the board yet. And we're talking 25 to 50 trucks a day, times 2 coming and going, I think could create quite a hazard. So I'll kind of ask the rest of the board to chime in on this. Any other opinions?
I'll speak in regards to it. Most of us
if we
here.
may, can we give our position
Yeah,
first?
sure.
If
I
you
just
don't
want to get, I want to make sure I have the.
Yeah, so if we can give the full picture before we take your advice, and we just would like to give our position first. Any other alternative would be quite substantial and dangerous for us. If we wish to go out and traverse the alternative using Tremont Street, we would have to, go through wetlands. We would have to go ahead and traverse another 1,000 feet or so and disturb additional wetlands. Secondly, the geometry and elevation change is quite dangerous for 18-wheelers itself. There's almost a 30 to 40 foot elevation difference. So coming up on a different artery instead of Mayflower Road, which now we have a line of sight of almost 1,200 feet, where on Tremont Street we would be making a 90-degree turn on a higher volume traffic road. It imposes its own safety circumstances.
I don't think it's a this or that. I think what we're saying, or what, at least what I'm saying, and I'll let the board speak again, but our bylaw requires that part of its purpose is that we assure minimal detrimental effect upon the district in which the activities are located, and I just think that Mayflower Road is not a good option for us. So if Tremont Street isn't a good option either, then this may not just, that's why I want to get this out now, it may just kill the project.
Is the issue more the volume of the trucks, or is it just a?
I read your thing, you're
Sure.
talking 25, average 31 trucks a day.
Because the road is a safe road.
But still,
We bring-
it's 61. Well, that's the problem
Yeah.
with that road, and I'm sure you've driven down it.
Yeah, I mean, there are a
It's
couple
quite
benefits.
windy, and again, telephone poles right up against the side, no extra lane, just purely 2 lanes.
We drive our cranberry trucks, 18-wheelers.
Yeah, but not 25 of them a day. Not
I mean, the one
25
benefit
a
of it
day.
is for approximately 3/4 of a mile after you leave the site, there's no homes whatsoever. The sight lines are very good, there's no trees. Once you do get to the end of Mayflower Road near 58.
Where all the houses are.
But yeah, I mean,
Right.
there's 9 houses there. At the end of, I verified, drove past, there's 9 houses at the end of Mayflower Road.
Yeah.
Where it is curvier, like I said, it's not a perfect
I'll
road.
hear from the rest of the board what their opinion is. That's my opinion.
Sure. I mean, we did start this project approximately 2 years ago in terms of permitting.
You're right.
And when we first proposed it, we proposed an area further down Mayflower Road, which had worse sight lines. It was actually recommended by the board at that time to relocate it onto Mayflower Road. I believe it was John Mason who suggested that exit.
He didn't want them going on Tremont Street, John did.
Sure.
He wanted a better sight line, there's no question
Sure.
about that.
So at his request, he knew the site and he requested that we actually specifically move the entrance and exit onto Mayflower Road where it is located on our current plans.
Well, further down Mayflower Road, but not from Tremont Street to Mayflower Road. I want to make that clear.
Correct. No, well, it's not from Tremont.
Yeah, because where they had it originally was at a corner.
Closer to Tremont, correct.
Was at a corner on Mayflower Road, which would have created a further hazard.
Correct.
But he never addressed the issue of the winding roads and the potential issue with all this truck traffic going down Mayflower Road, which is the concern that's being brought up. It's been brought up for the last 2 meetings that we've had with you. Anybody, you guys want to speak to this?
Mr. Chair, it really is a concern. I reflect what your feelings are there. We'd really like you to go back and try to come up with another alternative to get the material out of there.
I mean, so is it the board's opinion that it's effectively absolute, if we came back with a 15 truck per day limit, is that something the board would consider? Is just, you're not?
We're not comfortable with trucks going out of either end of that road.
I wouldn't be able to live with myself if some kid got hit with one of these trucks going down Mayflower Road the way that is.
Okay. Would the board consider a traffic engineer's opinion on that, or not? If we'd like to go down that road, just to provide you additional information.
And to help quell the concerns that you guys may have, if we did a traffic study.
They did a traffic study?
Yeah.
Would you consider doing a Tremont Street also, where you feel that coming out on Tremont Street is
Which would be
worse?
the safest, having a traffic study proposed?
I mean, if we could easily go into Tremont, we obviously would. I mean, as part of that study, we could have them analyze the feasibility of getting onto
That would
Tremont
be
Street.
That's what we want you to do,
certainly.
is go out on Tremont Street.
Well, I know, we just can't get there, is the problem, without filling in wetlands, without creating a ramp, without a significant amount of permitting, which we don't know if we can get. Like I said, it would involve a significant amount of filling in wetlands and the cranberry bogs that we're utilizing the reservoir for. When we have I understand the safety aspect, but in terms of an environmental impact aspect, it's a much worse solution and will involve a significant amount more permitting time, appeals. And like I said, it's very difficult to get out there. The elevation of Tremont Street is significantly higher than the bogs. It will require a significant ramp to be safe to get out of the site, which would be tough to do. And the only area we can do it would be very close to the Pontiff site, where they're going to be exiting at the same time. So I would think, again, I'm not a traffic engineer, that if we get a study, that will be part of their findings.
I'm not sure what a traffic engineer is going to tell us, as far as safety for the trucks running down there.
Sure, I'm sure that'll be part of their
exiting
opinion, but
I'm not sure that's going to sway my opinion, but
Okay.
if you want to go through the expense of that, I don't know what you guys think, but I just don't know if that would sway my opinion, what a traffic study is going to do. This has to do with the size of the vehicles, the weight of the vehicles, and the fact that they're going down a windy road with, like I said, telephone poles right up to the edge of the street. It seems dangerous to me.
Okay.
And Roger brings a good point, but we're not traffic engineers, but the telephone poles, the design of the street alone, if you have two trucks passing at the same time and, say, a person on a bicycle on that road, it's just not safe. And back to the Tremont Street part, I don't know all the logistics of coming out there, but that stretch of Tremont Street is kind of straight and you have a better view for the most part of the vehicles.
It's not the view. If we could get out that way, we'd definitely do it. It's a
Okay.
logistical issue.
Right now, we bring out our trailers and all of our heavy equipment off of Mayflower, because that's where the entrances are currently. And the site itself is closer to Mayflower than it is to Tremont Street itself. I don't have a digital map, but
Well, that whole road is
Yeah.
like spaghetti.
What do you recommend?
Let's ask for a vote then.
Come back with some other thoughts on how you feel
It's up
this
to
is
you.
feasible.
I think it's a non-starter as far as we're concerned, as far as going down Mayflower Road, so it's up
either
to
that
you if
or
you want to.
Come up with a proposal off of Tremont.
Would there be any support from the board for some sort of guarantee that if we are able to come up with a plan that would satisfy the board, that if we are able to come off of Tremont Street, that you guys would have a positive vote for us?
No, that's a
Yeah, we
silly
can't give you
question.
any sort of indication or guarantee.
Guarantee.
No, because the intent is if we go through the entire exercise and effort to go through the permitting process and the engineering to get to the Tremont Street is time-consuming and expense on our behalf.
I mean, you obviously can't guarantee anything. Does the board have any other particular concerns besides
That is
to
my
make sure before we-
specific concern is that, is
And
the
again-
Mayflower Road traffic.
Oh, sorry, Roger. And he did make a point that you would going up closer and encompassing more of Dunham Pond by making the property thinner because of all the guidelines that are put on you, and I understand that.
Correct.
Maybe if you looked on your property somewhere else?
That's actually that's the portion of the property that's farthest away from all the neighbors. We could pull to the front of the property towards Mayflower Road, but that's where most of the neighbors are actually located, and we're trying to stay away from them as much as possible. So it's a balancing test between the wetlands buffer zones and then...
There's still
and by the
activity
neighbors.
going on, and it's still gonna, you know...
Yeah, I mean, well, right now, near the front of the property on Mayflower Road is a completely treated area. It actually acts as a good buffer to all of the people on Mayflower Road. If we were
Until
to...
that gets sold or built on.
It hasn't been at this point. That's not in front of you. Right now, it's a treat area. But even if it was built on, it would only be a small envelope for a building. It wouldn't be completely clear-cut dust. So in theory, it'd be better to move backwards away from all the abutters. Like I said, we still stayed out of the National Heritage mapped area of Dunham Pond, which is approximately a 75-foot area buffer off of the whole pond. But again, that's something we can look into. We could possibly push it a little bit, well, potentially push it a little bit westward. I don't know where the wetlands line is over there. If we pressure well, we could fit it, but. Okay, so my inclination to extend one meeting, see if we can come up with an alternate game plan, come back in front of you, and then make a decision either way from that point in time.
Okay. Whereas this is a public hearing, is there anybody from the audience that wants to speak?
So if we can get the design.
On this project specifically?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine Harrelson, Community Land and Water Coalition, Plymouth-based nonprofit organization. We just ask the board that you look at this project with the same scrutiny as we ask you look at all projects. They are asking to dig a significant hole into our sole source aquifer. Their application does not provide the size, the acreages of the bogs that are going to be watered by this pond. The volume of water needed for the acres of bogs on the property. They have not clearly stated the other sources and volumes of water currently used by the company for these bogs, and a description of why the current water sources are insufficient. Basically, we're looking for mathematical calculations of water.
There is a farm plan, and they submitted it several meetings ago.
Yeah, that's...
That indicates, I think it's 112 acres of bog?
Correct, and 29 acres would be directly serviced by this reservoir.
Just to,
Yes, but they didn't provide calculations of how much water they need for those bogs, how much, what the total volume of this particular pond that they've just submitted is, if this is going to be sufficient, and how it interacts with the 9 other sources of water that they have on the property.
Okay.
So we're looking for a detailed analysis of why this water is necessary to develop this supplemental water supply when they already have water on the property. And the farm plan, I think, is several years old at this point. So, thank you.
thank you.
Yes, we did submit comments on this numerous times, and they've responded to each comment by rejiggering the project. And going back to what I laid out in terms of the bylaw, there's no showing that this is necessary and incidental to any agricultural use of the property, and that is because they have not substantiated the need for the water. As they said, as Catherine said, they have multiple other water sources. And the same point applies to Makepeace and their numerous water holes. I would just like to point out the irony that I'm seeing here, unfortunately, and the favoritism to some sand and gravel companies. AD Makepeace and Pontiff comes to mind. I really can't understand how there can be so much concern about the neighbors on Mayflower Road and complete disregard for the health of the neighbors who testified to you about the sand that's on their home and the scientific evidence that you heard from Olin College of Engineering about silica dust harming the human health. So in terms of undermining the credibility of the cranberry industry, This is the type of situation, this irony of allowing Makepeace to do whatever they want, basically, and then, having this project be somewhat of a show, place to show how tough we are, going to be with Hacienda Sand and Gravel, who's behind this project on Mayflower Road, as you well know, I'm sure. And also would like to point out, with the appointment of the new member, the Earth Removal Committee is completely illegally constituted because the bylaw states that there shall be no more than 2 people in the same profession or industry. So now we have 3 people who are in the cranberry trucking and sand hauling and digging and excavating business, including the chair who had to recuse himself because he's the manager of this property as well as others throughout the region. So why is there no traffic study on Federal Road when you have a massive 85-acre, 4 million cubic yard, decade-long project at 59 Federal Road, and another project right across the street at 46 Federal? We have given permits year after year since 2008 for 60 acres of cranberry bogs and 50 trucks a day, and you're also allowing all that sand to be hauled over to Reed Custom Soils,
Meg,
I want to
et
keep it
cetera.
to this.
yeah, we want to.
gotta
Well,
stay to
I'm just saying, shouldn't there be a traffic study, in other
I'm
parts
not
of
speaking
town?
to that, I'm speaking to this project specifically, so thank you.
Well, the irony is quite shocking and obvious, and in terms of wanting to maintain the credibility of the cranberry industry in southeastern Mass, which, no one is against. But if you would, that's really your goal, then perhaps you could apply the law equally to everyone.
Thank you, Meg.
Thank you.
I'm Linda Jacobs again. I travel Mayflower Road a lot as a shortcut, so I'm glad to see your concern about trucks operating on that road, because it is narrow and it's curvy, and there are 9 houses at the end, and there's also houses at the other end. But I just want to agree with Meg's point that there is it's not an equal treatment of this project and the 59 Federal project. I'm glad, of course, having anybody killed as a result of trucks on 59 Federal, Makepeace, hello.
You're Mayflower Road.
Mayflower Road, having anyone killed on Mayflower Road because if you approved the permit would be horrible. But there's 284 homes of old people in Cranberry Village who are an environmental justice neighborhood that also need your support. Having trucks going from, if this project were approved on Tremont Street, would be horrific. There are so many dump trucks and semis dealing in sand on that road all the time. It's a scary road to drive sometimes because if people are driving really fast, trucks are driving fast, and cars, and any more truck traffic on that road would be a frightening thing and dangerous.
Okay,
I feel really discouraged today with all that's happened.
Sorry. Okay, so.
Can I say something, being discouraged about the traffic on the roads? It's on a lot of the main roads. I go out and I sit and I watch also. Route 58.
That's not what I'm discouraged about. It's about
Wait.
what you're approving.
We
and where
didn't
you
approve
sit.
anything, Lillian, please. We're trying to work and make it better from what had happened in the past, so you have to give us some time. We're not rubber stamping this permit at all. We have things to discuss on it. In my opinion, 3 minutes ago, I was going to say continue the public hearing. Let them bring forward a traffic study. If they want to work with us, then if they supply us with the information we're asking, then it's a workable situation for all of us.
Can I get a motion to continue the public hearing on 0 Mayflower Road?
So moved.
I'll
Second?
make a motion to continue the public hearing on 0 Mayflower Road to our next meeting, March 10th.
Okay, got a second then? Second, Mike? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. We'll now move to agenda item number 10, which is a continued public hearing for Adga Realty located at 0 Fuller Street, map 49, lot 4-A. I'll just give an open here. We've spoken on this matter several times. The last meeting was on November 4th of '25, where we brought up the issue that in mid-May it was brought to our attention that Adga had removed roughly 8,100 yards of material from 0 Fuller Street without a permit, in direct violation of the bylaw. Since that time, we've received permit application with the $100 fee, received records from G-Lopes and ADGA indicating the amount of material moved and the time period that it was removed in. Received stamped drawings which support the amount of material removed, and performed 2 site visits, one in June and one in August. In our November meeting, we requested, we had this almost put to bed, but requested that the records from Lopes and ADGA be certified through an affidavit. That was submitted to us here. Are there any other further comments from the board on what I just said?
No,
Did I miss
everything
anything?
seems to be in line.
Any public, or do you have anything you need to speak to? Any public comments related to this?
Sure, I'll always take the chance to make a public comment.
Sure you will. Please keep it to this 0 Fuller Street.
Sure, I've reviewed the records, I saw Mr. Lopes's sheets. You know, these are repeat offenders at every project. You have the same people violating. There's no authority in your bylaw to grant an after-the-fact permit to sanction something that was done illegally, and you know, say that you should be investigating all of these projects, and no, you should not be granting an after-the-fact permit to sanction something that this company obviously knew they were doing intentionally wrong, violating without a permit. No, don't kid anybody that G. Lopes Construction doesn't know what the earth removal bylaw says in the town of Carver. You know, they're involved in litigation over the situation on Meadow Street. They're hauling sand for Pontiff over at 104 Tremont Street. Again, if you're trying to protect the integrity of the cranberry industry and your own board, you would not give somebody an after-the-fact permit, especially when they know exactly what they're doing and they've been doing this for decades.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else from the audience like to speak to this? Okay, hearing none. I'd like a motion to close the public hearing. So that we can
I'll
do
make a
it.
motion to close the public hearing on 0 Fuller Street, map 49, lot 4A.
There's a second on that?
Second.
Mike? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so as far as, I think we have 2 issues here we need to go about. One is the collection of tolling fees. So what I would recommend, and hopefully get support from the board, is that 40 cents a yard, which is our commercial rate for 8,090 yards, which we have evidence for the amount of $3,236. Do I have a motion to charge them tolling fees of $3,236?
I make a motion to charge tolling fees to ADG Realty on 0 Fuller Street, 49-48, for $3,236.
Second on that?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, my second recommendation is that ADGA be fined the maximum in our bylaw, which is $100 a day for the 19-day period of removal, which would be a total of $1,900. I have a motion on that.
I make a motion to charge our bylaw fee fine of $100 a day to ADG Realty, 0 Fuller Street, 49-4A, for the days that they removed the sand and gravel, earth, dirt from the property, which is a total of $1,900.
A second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Do we know how to facilitate that? Who do we contact for that?
Did
Jen?
they come in and,
I'll draft something up.
Okay. You'll draft something
It'll be
in?
a decision of your board that they have. How much time do you want to give them? 30 days?
Yeah,
For both?
for both.
Sure.
Okay?
for both the fine and the fee?
Correct.
And the last item on the agenda here is a discussion of our site visit on 0 Pond Street. So in October of last year, we had a complaint lodged that there was some earth removal activity occurring at the 0 Pond Street property with ADGA. It's also known as their Flag Street Pond property. Subsequent to that, the site visit was performed by Judy, Mike, and myself. And I'll let these guys talk about what you found.
Never been on the property before. Wasn't sure of what to expect. I did have some near maps that were given to me, and that's kind of what prompted this whole thing, other than a few residents on Pond Street that inquired about what was going on there. So this, again, is kind of like all after the fact, but from what we were told, they were cleaning up the property. I guess there was areas that had some dead, dying Christmas trees because the owners before had a Christmas tree farm, and they did not keep up with the property to make it habitable for them. So when the new owners took over, they went in and to clean up the property. So they had to remove the trees. They also found that the bogs did not receive enough water because they were dry pick bogs before, and they wanted them to be wet pick bogs. And any of the earth that was removed was kept on the site or moved to one of their other properties.
Find the same thing.
Okay, my notes were that a new water hole was dug on the farm. Again, like Judy said, so they could transition to wet harvest versus dry. There were 2 large sand piles on the property, which would indicate that none of, and they had stated that as of then, no material was moved off site, so that was in line with that. ADGA did indicate that they would need use of some of that material potentially at their South Carver site, the old Weston Bogs, and we informed them that if and when that were to occur, that they fill out the form we have for inter-agricultural movement so that we wouldn't have any issues like this come up in the past. Overall, I saw no evidence of a violation of our bylaw. That's what I've got. So, put that to bed. I don't think, is there anything else we need to do on that, Amy? Okay. With that said, I could use a motion to adjourn.
I'd like to first mention that from now on, ag to report to us any project that they're going to remove material
so that we know ahead of time, rather than slapped in the face and have to find this out on our own.
Absolutely.
And that also goes for all the other growers and other people in the town who want to remove stuff without notifying our committee.
Going forward, I've been put in charge and tasked on behalf of ADGA to manage and coordinate any and all operations, so I'll be the point person for all earth removal, earth management, and operations going forward, so I'll be handling that.
Thank you very much.
So you'll just reach out to our...
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
We haven't had enough cold weather to do ice sanding, so we'll be waiting for
Okay, just so, I mean,
timing.
people are watching now.
Oh,
So-
no, even if they were watching or not, we have to do it, so.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you.
Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.